Welcome to The Growth Equation. This isn't your typical business podcast. We're keeping it real about the challenges of scaling up, period. I'm Tristan Wright and I've been there. I've built and scaled my own business. I've sold it. I've learned a ton along the way. Now I'm bringing you the no BS stories of founders who are in the trenches right now, navigating that messy middle. We're talking advertising, marketing, design, creative, branding, the whole 9 yards. Doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur or running a team of 100. Everyone's got a secret sauce, that thing that makes them different, better. We're going to uncover it. So grab a coffee and let's get real. Today we're speaking to Jacob from Fisheye, all the way from Newcastle, Australia. Jacob, tell me about Fisheye and where that name came from.
Yeah, thanks, Tristan. It's a bit of a different one, and I think that's kind of intentionally, we chose the name so it kind of stuck, and it sounded a little odd. But my wife actually came up with the name when we were originally kind of brainstorming different ideas. Obviously, fisheye, it references the fisheye lens. We're just kind of trying to think of something that was relevant, and then. Yeah, it stuck. I really liked it. It kind of really stuck in my head. And then retrospectively, we kind of applied a bit of meaning to it. So we looked at, fisheye lens is obviously a super wide angle lens. And then we kind of were like, well, we take a really wide view of kind of any business that we look at and work with. So
for those of you that are listening that don't know, Jacob's business is a video marketing agency. So hence the fisheye component.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we focus on video, and we also have a sister company that is more focused on social media management and marketing as well. But yeah, Fisheye is primarily video based.
Yeah, I imagine and I'm going to go straight into it. There's a whole trend to faster market media. So the content needs to be created straight away and then get onto social. So typically with video marketing, there's a whole heap of scripting and it takes forever to produce the content. So it might be a month or 3 months. And the trend with social media now is people are wanting to record content and go live the same day. So I imagine that's why you've got that sister at the social media agency. So what have you seen with the go-to-market changes in the last couple of years?
Look, for us, we've definitely seen video trends, that the type of video is changing. It's very much people want shorter videos. Instead of referring to them as videos now, people usually come to us asking about reels. So the language has changed around that. People naturally want shorter videos. We've gone from, 90 seconds kind of being the sweet spot that everyone talked about, say 5-6 years ago, to then it was 60 seconds. Now it's 30 seconds. Now people want 15-second videos. And our clients are typically in the corporate space. So they're usually, either small businesses, big, businesses, but they're all within that kind of corporate space. But yeah, look, we're definitely seeing Fisheye is always kind of, our video content is very much streamlined. We're not usually spending a heap of time sitting there storyboarding things out. We're usually looking at the key things that we need to. So it's it's messaging, it's visually how do we want it to look and feel, and then we're usually ripping straight into production. So we try to find a balance between. Our clients don't always have huge budgets, so we're trying to find this balance between, how much time do we spend on pre-production versus how much time do we, kind of spend on just ripping in and kind of getting it done. So,
yeah, awesome. So let's take a step back now. Fisheye, has it been around 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? How did it start?
So Fisheye is 8 years now, 8 years old. So it started, I originally moved post-studying. I moved to Sydney and did a stint there originally from Newcastle. So moved to Sydney for some opportunities and worked there for about 4 years, agency side. And then, I missed home. I wanted to move back to Newcastle. There weren't too many opportunities here at the time. So so I created Fisheye. I thought, I can do this. So started things off. We started working in the real estate space. So real estate videos, that's kind of what I did back in Sydney. So that would have been 12 years ago. Really popular there, and it wasn't as popular of a product in Newcastle.
How did you find working with real estate agents?
Look, we still do, so I have to be careful.
You got to be careful.
But I think it's just it's like anything, mate. There's good eggs, there's bad eggs, we just kind of make it work. So, look, we just eventually evolved into the more corporate space, which is kind of always the goal, and we don't do too much real estate anymore. But it's definitely changed from where we first started.
Yeah. So you were on the tools eight years ago, and I'm sure you're still on the tools a tiny bit now. But what's the structure of the business look like today?
So we've got a team of 6 at the moment. So we're still a small team, but efficient. So the structure of the team, I'm very much handling new inquiries, new business, all the other fun stuff that comes with HR, accounts, invoicing, proposals, those kinds of things, and the rest of the team. So moving on from there, we have a production coordinator. So their role is basically like, as new jobs come in, we convert those. They're happy with that. They usually have that initial meeting with a production coordinator, and they kind of hold their hand from that point moving forward. So they're responsible for all the pre-production phase, going on the shoots, making sure everything runs smoothly, and then delivering that final video to the clients. And then we have 2 cinematographer and editors. So they're basically like, creative sort of filming jobs as they come through, figuring out how we can kind of like creatively make those really cool and really interesting, and then handling the post-production as well to make sure it aligns with the brief and we nail it for the client. Then we have a marketing manager. So their role is, focused on our sister company, but also for our brand as well. So planning content for us, planning content for our clients, for those accounts that we manage on social media. And we also have a graphic designer as well. So they're mostly looking at making sure the content that does go out does look good. So
yeah, awesome. So the sister company you got, which is a social media agency, do you have a separate headcount for that business as well?
No. So 2 of those. So the marketing manager is mostly manages most things within Curator, and then graphic designer is kind of like assistant role to that. So Fisheye is really day-to-day operations. 4 people. So myself, our production coordinator, and our 2 full-time cinematographer and editors. So
yeah, cool. So I want to talk about something, let's say slightly outside of the business, wealth generation side of things. I can see you've got a new factory or a new office space, and I reckon you've worked hard for that, and the businesses help generate the ability to purchase or fund that. So I'd love to hear a bit about the journey of how you've got there and why you've decided to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess like I always believe in having multiple revenue streams, diversifying as much as possible. But obviously, having a business allows you to, achieve a lot of those things sometimes gradually over time with whatever little is left after overheads. But I always want to continually invest back in the business. So this is just an example of that. We decided about 4 years ago that we wanted to purchase a commercial space within our super fund and put our business within that. So for those that kind of have heard of that strategy or familiar with that strategy, obviously know what that's about. But for those that don't, it's essentially it's a way to really be able to pay yourself back into your super fund through your business. So we decided that we'd use that strategy, and we've as of 12 months ago, we purchased this space. It's finally complete. We've been able to move in here, and we're essentially fitting out the ground floor as a video production studio, photo shoot studio, plus kind of like video podcast studio. So that will be available to the public. It'll have its own brand, and people will be able to come in here and rent this space out. But then obviously the business is functioning upstairs as well. So there's a bit of a few different ways we've been able to approach it. So
yeah, nice. So you've got your business upstairs. The business is paying rent to your super funds. So the rent that would be previously going to another landlord is effectively going to you as a landlord, and you take advantage of it in the future, obviously.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So it's just cutting out that middleman, I guess, and it's a way to kind of like generate personal wealth as well, which is important. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is a thing I like talking about with a lot of my clients. Like they're paying 40, 50, 60, 70 grand rent a year, and it's going to someone else. Why not build wealth for yourself? So the business is a tool for life. It's a tool to be able to build your wealth.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's obviously great to continue to grow your business and be able to support your clients and your staff. But you also need to think about yourself and your future as well at the same time. So it's just ways that you can to do that to look after yourself and your family for the future.
Yeah. Was it scary when you made the commitment? Yep, I'm going to commit to a factory and the fit out, and in theory the rent might be a tiny bit more than what you would have been paying previously.
For sure, yeah. Look, it's definitely more than what we're paying, particularly with interest rates at the moment. And those who might be familiar with SMSF mortgages is definitely a higher interest rate than personal.
You're talking 8-9% at the moment.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So it's definitely scary, but like it's one of those things. I think if you don't either take the risk and fail and start again, or take the risk and it works out. So it's a calculated risk, just like anything. But if you don't kind of make those kind of calculated judgments, then you won't kind of like benefit as well. So it's scary, but it's just one of those things. You get the right advice and you kind of like back yourself, and hope it works.
Yeah. Talking about advice, did you go to a financial planner? Did your accountant talk to you about it? How did you come up with this strategy? So for people, like I would say not a large percent of business owners with say 5 to 20 staff have their own office space. A lot are probably capable of it, but they don't know how to. So what were those steps that you took?
Look, I think I've been fairly lucky in having the right people around me. My brother-in-laws are into developing. They kind of first told me about the strategy maybe like 6-8 years ago, and I thought that sounds pretty good. So that was on the radar straight away, and then just naturally as a business owner, I have a financial planner. I think it's a really important thing to have because it's obviously looking at your business and the steps, but also for you personally and for your partner if you have a partner as well. And we have a little girl, we have a daughter, so like I want to make sure that I'm making the right moves and seeking the right advice. So I think that's key. Having that, they heard about the strategy and they kind of made some recommendations around 4 years ago on how to do that. There's things you can do, such as maximizing your super contributions. You can add your partner as an employer if there's things that they do for your business. You can do that as well, and they also can receive super contributions. There's just a number of things you can do, but obviously, you have to be able to fund that as well. I'm fairly confident with where the business is at, and I was confident that we'd be able to, to sustain that. yeah, it's definitely get the right advice, I think, is key.
Yeah, it's about having that team around you, your accountant, your financial planner. If you've got a business coach, and then other people that are one or two steps ahead of you, so you can learn from them and see what they've been doing.
Definitely, yeah, 100%. I think it's definitely look at that inner circle and who you're talking to, and if you don't have someone there who can give that advice, definitely seek it out.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, that's exciting. We're actually going unconditional on a factory today. So,
Oh yeah,
gotta leave. Breathe what I preach, kind of thing. So
it's awesome, mate. Congratulations, that's so
yeah,
cool.
it's fun. Like we're building our asset portfolio
Great.
using you. You don't, if your business is doing all right, you don't need to spend all of your money on the now. You spend it on the future, kind of
For
thing.
sure.
So
Definitely.
take what you need to live, and then
Yeah.
build your wealth so it can amplify over the years. And if you want, you can retire earlier.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah, 100%. That's awesome, man. Well done.
Yeah, cheers, man. So let's go back to the to your business journey. So um, you've been in it for 8 years.
Mhm.
And you've got about 6 people now. I'm sure it hasn't been all roses, kind of thing. There's probably been some highs. There's been some lows. There's definitely been some late nights doing video editing. So I want
Definitely.
to hear about not just the wins, but I want to hear a couple of the horror stories.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like where to start. Initially the first few years of business are just rough. Like in terms of time commitment, I reckon I was doing 60 nowadays easily. Just to get things off the ground, like you're the only person at that stage. So you're shooting, you're editing, you're trying to get new jobs, you're managing projects. So you might be out on a shoot fully booked all day. You've got clients emailing you, clients calling you, saying, hey, we want to make these changes to a video. Then you've got that psychological component as well going on. So you're just trying to manage everything. I had just a mate. At one stage, I was just paying cash. After he finished work, he'd come to my house. He'd sit down on another computer and I'd say, bro, just please help me edit these videos. That's obviously was a positive. Like it was tough, but it was a positive experience. But there's the big one. Obviously, COVID was a big hit. I'm sure people are sick of hearing about that. But just one day I woke up and people told me I couldn't run my business anymore. It was, it was pretty stressful. And I had team at the time, full-time employees that, I had to pay salary for, and I already made the decision. There's no way I was going to let anyone go. Didn't matter how slow we were going to get. I would just pay them to sit at home and do nothing if I had to. So obviously we had great support through our government in terms of subsidizing. I think it was like 30% of wages, but still when you're making zero revenue, you're still bleeding 60%. So I'm sure everyone experienced that if they had a team. You have the other hurdles as well. We've been fairly lucky in that we've had really good clients. Get the occasional nightmare client, but I think generally it's just gauging them at the start. You usually see red flags when you have a potentially dangerous client reach out, and you manage that at the start to prevent yourself from getting in any sticky situations. But look, in terms of like team, we've been really lucky at having the right people part of the fisheye journey, and we haven't had any bad experiences with current or previous employees. So everyone who leaves here is happy, and they've usually left for their own personal reasons. We've just been really fortunate to have some good experiences on that side, which I think is definitely part of making sure the culture's right, but also make sure you hire right as well, and spend the time to get to know the person. And if you feel like you like them on a personal level, I'm sure you can generally kind of work with them.
Yeah. So it's not. I don't think it's just luck. There's got to be good leadership or a tiny bit of skill. So what is it that what do you think it is that you're doing from a hiring perspective and generating a good culture perspective? What are you doing to ensure that you're keep getting and keeping the right people and keeping the right culture?
Yeah, it's a good question. I always ask myself, I'm like, is it just continually trying to do the right thing? I certainly don't have all the right answers, and definitely as a leader, there's things I can improve upon. I don't claim to be the perfect boss or the perfect leader, but I always try to be. I think personally for me, I just think like I want to make the workplace somewhere where I'd want to come to work, where it's it's not overly serious all the time. Like when it's time to work and get stuff done, we do, but also like outside of that time, it's fun. It's supposed to be fun. Work is supposed to be. It's a massive part of your life, so you want to spend it with the right people and spend it doing the right things and just having fun, coming to work and not feeling like you're coming to work, but also making sure our client gets a great result and it's professional. So
Yeah, like at the end of the day, you spend a third of your life. I don't know the exact number at work, so you've got to actually enjoy it. So you can't be waking up dreading it.
Definitely, 100%. You have to enjoy it.
What was your biggest screw up, or what's your biggest screw up been that you're like, I don't know, recover from this?
That's a really good question. I'd have to think about that a little bit more.
Has there been a time where you've delivered something poorly for a client, or you've charged incorrectly, or your cash flow has been down the toilet?
Yeah. Look, I think probably the biggest screw up was like in the first couple of years, it was not understanding tax and kind of like how that worked, which I'm sure every sole trader who's turned into a business kind of like would have experienced that. I'm kind of like I'm not a overly detailed person. Like I hire people who can help me in those spaces. I know my own weaknesses. I'm kind of like excited by new things and have a lot of energy for that, but when it comes to looking at the finer details, definitely particularly around finance previously, didn't kind of like understand everything perfectly. So yeah, there was stages where I'm like, I haven't allowed enough to pay for tax, or those kinds of things. So you just go, shit, you have to start saving to make those payments and that kind of thing. But I definitely learnt my lesson early on and managed to kind of like get through all that. So just definitely making sure you have just chop off 30% of what you earn and just put it aside for the government. So
unfortunately, that's what it is. Like typically it's about 20%, but
exactly.
You've got to put some money away, that's for sure.
Definitely. I find just put away more than you think, just in case,
Yeah. What's AI doing for you guys at the moment? Good, bad, or ugly?
I think it's good. I think a lot of like sometimes we get people saying, "Hey, you guys scared about AI? Like it's going to replace you guys. They're going to be doing videos, and you won't have anything to do." And I think people probably said that about video cameras when they became more accessible to people who knew how to operate video cameras. Like, are you worried that everyone's going to go get a video camera and start filming their own content? People still do, but it's like, but not to the level we do. Exactly. Yeah, totally. But it's I think there's certain, like, you're not going to go pick up your phone and go shoot a brand video. Like if you don't understand marketing, you don't understand messaging, you don't understand, you can make it look nice, but lighting is the biggest part of it. So there's things that I think AI is a tool that I think professionals can use to enhance what they're doing. So for us, we're using it as a tool to speed up editing time, get our clients things faster. We use it in pre-production, so helping us plan things out, helping us brainstorm, come up with even more creative ideas. ways to, like even for like audio, like using audio, let's just say there's some background noise, AI can process that and remove that sound way better than any kind of like traditional noise remover could do. So, I think it's a tool that is being used by us to make our product better and the product we deliver to our clients even better.
So I imagine it's reducing production time for, let's say, a video or a service that you're offering. Because it's reducing production time, and are you changing the way you charge?
I think so, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Like, things that might have taken like a full day of post-production before, we're now only quoting like a half day post-production. So yeah, I think there's definitely ways we can speed that up. And I think if you can pass that savings on to the client, you only generate more work because of it. You don't like mindset that you're missing out on extra work is that, is I think clients just produce more content as a result because it's more affordable and it's more accessible.
Yeah. Okay. So your thought process is because you're able to make it a bit cheaper, which means the client is going to spend a bit more money. So your margin might be a tiny bit less, but your volume will end up increasing.
Well, we don't reduce our rate or reduce our margin. We just would reduce the time we spend on it. So we'd adjust our quote accordingly. So we're never really like missing out.
Okay.
But yeah, if it costs X amount to produce 3 videos, and it's a third cheaper than it was last year because we can do it quicker, it just means they're going to produce 6 videos, So I think that's generally been the approach we take for it.
Yeah, nice. Where do you see the industry going in the next couple of years?
From like, what do you like from a video perspective or a marketing?
So let's say video marketing perspective. Like if we're looking, I'm looking at it from a search perspective, a lot of people are watching videos and they're starting to do voice interaction. So how is the way, so from a video and marketing perspective, what are you seeing? Are you going to need to adapt to?
Well, something that's already changed is looking at how creative performs online. So what we've seen from Curator, our sister company in the marketing side, is that video creative that looks more organic has been performing better than the content that looks more professionally produced. The reason I think that happens is because brands are trying to emulate like organic content so that it's engaged. More people have access to this, so naturally the more content is produced is this, and we tend to like to follow trends. So I have a bit of an interesting take on it, but I think in 5 years it's kind of like the what's popular now generally flips within a certain time period. So it's kind of like the modernism, postmodernism kind of like phenomena where I think at the moment like organic content is performing really well. I think as soon as that becomes so saturated that everything looks like that, we're going to go back the other way, and the thing that looks really polished is going to stand out again. So I think that's probably a trend that will happen in the next few years. Really, sorry, man, I lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
So where do we see the industry going in a couple of years' time? So you're saying at the moment organic's really popular and it's gonna flip. So
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of personal branding content wise, like people are just really investing in their own personal brands. Even within businesses, the people within those are investing in their own brands and producing their own content. A lot more video podcasts. Even though it feels like there's already a lot, I think there's a lot more room for even more. and yeah, I think that's probably the main areas, I think.
Yeah, awesome. So you've had some highs, you've had some lows, you've learned a few things, I would hope, along that journey. If we were to give the another business owner one piece of advice, something that you wish you knew before you started your journey, what would that piece of advice be?
Great question. I think the key is really like hiring people that like recognizing your own weaknesses is probably the one piece of advice I'd give. It's recognizing what you're not good at and making sure you have the right people to support you, whether that's employees or whether that's external advisors or other people. It's really about being self-aware, I think, and going, I'm good at this, I'm not so good at that. Time to get some help. And sometimes I don't recognize that myself, but I always try to come back to it and go, all right, mate, someone else can do this better than you. You're not the best at everything. So just focus on.
You don't want to be the smartest person in the room. So
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, like you said, like always hiring people that are better than you at what you do is key. Yeah.
And that have got complementary skill sets and complementary personalities as well. So
true. I think personalities are a massive part of making sure that everything runs smoothly.
Yeah, awesome. Jacob, thank you very much for your time today, mate. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Yeah, just jump on Instagram, check out Fisheye Creative, or head to our website. Just feel free to send us a DM, or if you have some questions, like other ways that you can ask some info or ask for some advice, I'll be happy to get back to you. So
awesome, mate. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
That's a wrap. Thanks for tuning into The Growth Equation. If you've enjoyed the show, hit that subscribe button and leave a review. It helps us big time. Catch you next time. And if you want more, head over to evolvetogrow.com.au for show notes and exclusive content.